Hey, this is Eddie Hale, and today I want to show you how to use the Gradient Mesh tool in Adobe Illustrator. We use it in Lesson 9 of my Adobe Illustrator class. This is a gradient mesh drawing of a banana. It started as a photograph, and the Gradient Mesh is just a really neat tool. Let me show you how it works. I'm going to switch to Illustrator. I need a photo for this lesson. I need a photo. I'm going to go to File, Place, and I've got this photo of a pepper donated by Miss Shayla from my Illustrator class. She said I could use it to make this video. So there, I'll put this on my page where I like it. You have to go to the Layers panel here. So I'm going to the Layers panel, and this needs to be a template layer for this to all work right. I'm going to double click on this layer, and you could name it, a responsible designer would name it, and I need it to be a template, and I don't want it to dim images. So I'm going to uncheck dim images, but it must be a template for this to work right. There, now it's a template. It's locked. I can't do anything on that layer. I'm going to make another layer. In fact, I might make a bunch of layers. I might make a layer called background. It's going to be the background of my whole drawing. This one I will call pepper. And then I might make one called stem. I often do that. Stem. I'm going to draw on the pepper layer first of all. Here's how it works. I zoom in a little bit, and every gradient mesh has to start with a basic shape. I start them all with an ellipse. So I draw an ellipse, about the size of my fruit or vegetable that I'm drawing. And my plan is, I see a highlight running down the length of this thing, and that's where I want to put a mesh line, which you'll learn about in just a minute. If you start with a basic shape like this, you end up with more predictable mesh lines. So I will, first off, I will take this and I will eyedropper some nice red color in my fruit back there. So that's where that's where I'm going to start. Then I take the mesh tool, the gradient mesh tool. It looks like a little fishnet over here. I click on that, and I'm going to click on I know there's a highlight right here, and I'm creating the mesh line that's going to go right down the center of that highlight. That's my plan. So I'm going to create that right here. All right, I'm going to reshape this path. You take a break and come back when you have your basic path reshaped to fit the edge of your fruit or vegetable. I neglected to say one thing. I think you should go into View Outline to make this happen. Okay, I'm back. I've got this arranged so that there's a mesh point right on that highlight there, and I've got this this line running mostly right down the length of this highlight. Now the way this works is I'm going to fill individual anchor points with color. I'll fill this with that white color, and it's going to blend out in all directions until it hits the next anchor point, which is filled with another color. So I'm going to plan ahead. I'm going to say this color fades from white to red, and when it gets here, it's red. So you don't want to put any mesh points where there's changing color. You want to go from an area of solid color all the way through the change to the next place where there's another solid color. So I'm going to take my gradient mesh tool again. I'm going to click right here because I want this to transition from white to red. Going in the other direction, I want the same thing to happen. It's going to become redder, redder, redder until right here I'm going to say it is all red. And then in the other direction too, here it's going to go from white to red, and I say it's red right there. And you can see I'm starting to make this grid. Don't add a million lines. You don't need a lot of lines. Only as many as is necessary. So I'm here, I'm saying that it changes to red there again. I'm going to add a line right here, or an anchor point right there, because again, there's the center of a highlight, and it fades out this way until it reaches about right here, and then it's solid red again. It fades down this way until about right here, and it's solid red again. I see some other things going on. It's going to blend from a darker color on the edge here. Can you see that? And it's going to come into red again. So I need a mesh line there to stop that. I'm going to have dark here. It's going to come in. I need it to turn red right about there. Down here I see sort of a shadow right there. So I'm going to help that along by adding a mesh point right in here. And I'm going to have a little shadow going down here. And then it's going to turn to red. It turns a little bit lighter in here again. It's kind of a reflection. And then it turns darker again. So I need those mesh lines there. If I go to preview, I don't know why it looks like that, and I don't much care either. But now I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to click on the white arrow, and then I'm going to click on the eyedropper. Why do I do that? Because now if I hold the Command key on a Mac, my eyedropper turns into the white arrow, and you'll see how that's going to work to my advantage right now. I'm going to go to View Outline, and I'm going to go around this whole thing, and I'm going to fill in every anchor point with the color under it. So I'm going to click on this anchor point. I let up on the Command key, and I click, and it fills with that, interesting, it fills with that guide color. That almost never happens. So I'm going to click right next to it to fill it up with the red from the fruit. And I'm going to go all around every anchor point. That's why, it's one of the reasons I said, only add as many anchor points as you need. And I'm also going to go around the edge. Here on the edge, I'm going to be careful I don't accidentally click on the background. I'm going to click and then select a color from the inside of my fruit a little bit. My fruit photograph. All right, I'll be quiet. You go to work. Feel free to zoom in on some of these to make sure you're selecting all of the anchor points. Now I'm going to zoom out and go to my view, preview, and see what I have. Not bad. I can, I'll do select, deselect all, or select none to see what I have going on. That's kind of a fun illustration. I need to do something to soften this up here, to make this tighter and to soften up this hard edge here. I sort of see a hard transition right there, so I need to fix that. Let's see what's causing that. Is this path, this mesh line here gets closer to this mesh line here, it causes a harder edge. So if I move those apart, move those mesh lines apart, it turns into a softer edge. So I can look for places to do that. You can see that little shadow in here. So it's usually never done right away when you're done sampling colors. It seems like there's always issues that I have to go in and fix. Things like I showed you down there. I still see a stripe here. I need to strive to get rid of the stripe. So it's not photographically perfect, but I'm okay with that personally. I just want something that looks like a pepper. And I think that does. So that is the pepper. That's not the photograph. I can turn the photograph off. So I hope you agree that that's kind of neat.